Hello there. Let's talk about hardware for a while. I think hardware is more important than people seem to think. You know, most of us, we can't afford our own drum tech or a roadie to help us assemble our kit, or we need to do it ourselves and pack it down again after the gig, put it in the car, drive it home, and if we're really lucky, we do it a lot. And if we're not that lucky, we do it maybe once or twice a year. But nevertheless, the hardware it's determining how smooth that part of the operation goes. You know, besides the playing, every one of us who has struggled with crappy hardware, we know how pain in the butt it can be when it doesn't function the way it's supposed to be. So I'll put up my drum kit now, and I'll talk you through what I like and what I miss about the hardware. And I'm sorry for, the nasal voice and my general health condition here. I'll try not to mess up the video. Okay, so let's start with the bass drum. This is my main bass drum. It's a SQ squared, maple medium, 22-inch with a Babinga finish. I'm going to keep this short because I think it's great. The easy grip, these legs, just perfect. It works every time and never let me down. So let's move on to my pedal here. As you can see, I've got the Giant Step double pedal, and this is by far the best pedal I've ever used, so I just simply love it. I love the design, I love everything. One thing though, it should have come with an extra mounting plate, so I can keep this one on my regular bass drum and still be able to travel to a backline kit with this one without removing this. So maybe you should have two of them in the bag when you buy it. Just a small tip. And I love this feature here. And there it is, ready to play. Okay, moving on to the snare stand. This is the bottom half of my 600 series snare stand. Two things about this is, first of all, that you can move one leg a little bit. So if you have a tight space between your double pedals, you can just shift it in a little bit and then you can fit it. Cool. And also these clamp functions here, it will really grip on the tube here without tightening really hard. So actually I love these ones, and this goes for all my Sonor stands which has this one. I just love it. I'm not going to repeat it every time I look at a stand, so I'm just pointing it out now. I love this one. Okay, and then the top. I love memory locks. I don't always use them, but I love having them. There you go. And it's here. Okay, I'm going handheld for a while here now. The most important thing for my snare stand is this here, who determines the angle the snare drum lies in. So this one is without any teeth, so you can just adjust it to just about any angle you want. You can find that perfect angle for your rim shots to really, you never miss your rim shots, I also love the way you tighten up the snare inside the stand here, so it's good. And one thing that's widely overlooked is this rubbery thing here. Because Sonor has this long, rubber bed here for the snare to lie on. It's really nice because I've got an old crappy one here. I'll just compare. Oh, there you go. See this ridiculous little whatever it is here? You know that your rim is gonna get stuck here and not here. So whenever you try to move the snare drum, the drum stand will fall off. This is ridiculous. Much better. I love this. So this 600 series snare stand is as close to perfection as it can get. Except for one thing, I'll show you. Okay, so now I've got my snare on. It's a nice snare. As you can see here, this little thing is right next to the tension rod here. And if I move it to the side, it's right next to the tension rod here. And you know where the third is going. Right on top of that tension rod. If it was possible to make this whole arm being able to move, you know, like 30 millimeters to the side, I think this will help keep the snare secure on the stand. It's really hard when you have that many lugs on the snare drum to find a good place for this one to fit. So if you can, like the legs you have on the stand, you can just shift it to the one of the sides a bit. It would be perfect. So just for fun now, have you ever tried to put an old phonic snare stand between a double pedal? It's hilarious. Okay. Nice stand, by the way. Where do you put the legs? It's so wide you can fit an airplane in there. You can play with it actually. There you go. Let's hope it don't move, because then it gets under the pedal and you can't play. So the next thing is a Tong Stand. As a lot of you can probably see, this is a 400 series, but it still has this amazing grip here, which really gets me. Don't have to tighten that much. Good enough. Cool. But the thumb arms are 600 series, as you can see here. And now I'm going to talk about these ones, because so this is my thumb arm. It's a 600 series and it fits perfect with the 400 series stand. So that's a good thing that you have like a standard for it. This feature here, I hate it. The ball clamp thing, I hated. I hated them on my Yamahas. I hated them on my Tamas. And guess what? I hate them on my Sonors. Let me show you why on the drum kit here. Okay, so here I have the 8-inch tom on. And you know, if you've been out, you find the perfect spot for the tom, and you've been out a week gigging, and no need to shift anything around. But the following week, you're going to do another job, which requires different toms. So you need to adjust it just a little bit. See what happens. Just a little bit angle. And when you tighten it again, it falls back to the same spot. Why? Let's try the other way. What? What's that? Is my arm in the way? As you can... Okay. Okay. So here I have the 8-inch tom on. And, you know, find a good place for the tom to sit. And somehow, during the next weeks of gigging, I need to just adjust it a little bit, the angle of it. So here's what happens. Just want to move it up to here, and when you tighten it, it goes back. What's up with that? Let's try that once more. How's that for irritating? And even if you could make it stick here, if I force it, see it? And when I hit it, it's back where it was. This ball must die. So now comes the fun part of the video, because I'm going to pretend that I'm a drum hardware design engineer person and try to come up with a suggestion that might, what I will think will work better than what the high paid guys at Sonor, I don't know how much they paid, but they make good stuff, so they deserve some pay at least. Okay, so here we have the 600 arm with a ball thing I don't like. Here's an old designer arm. I thought I had a phonic arm, but I can't seem to find it, so it's probably stuck in the bottom of one of my flight cases somewhere. But the old phonic and signature arms, I thought they were really good. I loved the tom mount system, especially when, you know, the teeth of this angle stuff here were finer instead of the really old where they were really big. The small ones, perfect. I could get my toms always in just the right place. So, but they, of course, the old phonic arms won't fit with this beautiful system here. Nice. I love this one. Yeah, I just love it. I think it looks good and it works perfectly. It's just the right amount of bounce in my tom when I hit it real hard, which I do too often according to the other guys in the band. So we really need to figure out to make a tom arm that works with this one, but better than this one. Okay, challenge accepted. You might hate it, but it's a suggestion anyway. So what I remember when these ones came out, a friend of mine bought a designer kit, and I put this on, and when you tighten this, the tom will not move in this direction at all. But what it would do is in that direction. So if you needed an angle here and you put on a really heavy tom, and now I tightened this pretty hard. So this was a good idea, didn't work. So what we need to do is, if you make this bottom here, of course in the same size as this tube, so it will fit in the stands. That goes without saying, I guess. And then you have this top angle like it is, and you do not have, you know, the clamp stuff here. Instead of the clamp, you should, you know, if you pretend that this part is not here, I'm going to hold over that one, so you probably won't notice. So you just have a small arm here. Okay, let's see if I'm strong enough to remove this rubbery thing here, plastic thing. It's not rubber, it's plastic. And you have a tube. Nice sound. If you could make, you know, a mini version of this one, which I always said I loved, and then you have, where it is, here it is. If you have this one from the 600 series, and you make this one round, so it will fit inside there, and you will have the ability to move the tom a bit back and forth there. Again, pretend this part is not there, so there's no way to clamp it down. It's a set thing here, and here you clamp this rod down, and you can still adjust the length away from the stand with this one and clamp it down here. I think that would be much better, but who knows. Here's a free tip for you. And now comes the floor toms. I have two floor toms here. This is a 14 inch, this is 16 by 16, 14 by 14. As you can see, the leg brackets here are in the same height from the bottom hoop. And it looks good, and it makes sense, but it also makes 2 inches difference in the height. So when you put on the legs, I'll do that now. Let's see what happens. There you go. Two very nice floor toms. What happens is, when you find a perfect height for this one, you need to adjust this one a lot to make it to the same height. Because this kit is so beautiful, I can't stand messy tom setup. The tom setup needs to match the beauty of the kit. So, almost. Proves my point exactly. You need to adjust a lot to get it to just the right height, so it will match the other one better. And then, only then, you can start tilting it to find the right angle for your playing. And you need, to match them back and forth. And it takes a while. Doesn't take forever though, but when you have a large kit, I have 5 toms and sometimes up to 3 snares. The sound engineer is not very patient with you setting up too much drums. So this is waste of time. If you could, please make some memory locks for this one. It would take less than 30 seconds to put the toms up in just the perfect position where you had it last time. And I'm pretty sure that you had floor tom legs with the memory locks before. I'm not going to bet my life on it, but as I can remember, you've had it previously. Please! I need memory locks, please. And now it's time for the hi-hat to go on the kit. This is 600 series with 2 legs. I thought I was going to like it, but actually I didn't. But I haven't replaced it yet because it cost too much. So this was kind of a wasted money for me. And I'm too stubborn to change it just because I don't like it. I don't know. But it has, of course, you can move the legs around a bit. So if you can't find a space for these legs, this Hyatt stand, you might need to cut out a few of the drums from the setup. Okay. So here's one thing that I always wondered. First of all, this hexagonal rod is just brilliant. Don't ever change it. It's amazing, brilliant, I love it. Don't change it. And of course, the way you can tighten the top of the hi-hat without removing the clutch. Amazing. And of course, this will never ever loosen. This is brilliant. What is not brilliant, however, is this is the length of the tube that goes into the snare stand, and this is the length of the rod inside. and they're exactly the same. I'm guessing, and this is pure guessing, that it's made because when you travel with it, it's protected inside this one. I can't think of any other reason why these two should be at the same length. Because you can never have your hi-hat up here. Where's it going to attach? So you don't need it. Okay, the problem is when I put these one in my flight cases, or my bags rather, because I don't take flight cases for my stands, it weighs way too much. And this is inside here, and someone lifts it like this, it falls out, and it gets bent between the other stands in that bag. And we all hate these rods being bent. It's the worst thing that happened. So here's the thing you can do. First of all, you need to have something here. I have an old Yamaha stand here somewhere. Just a second. There, a little time lapse there. I have this one, the Hyatt Stand of the enemy. As you can see here, it's quite a big chunk of plastic here. You don't need this much, but you'll get the idea. If you fit this one in here, it will stay there. And if you make the other end, you make the rod stick out. Okay, I need to pretend that it's there. Just a few centimeters. Just enough for this one to clamp on. And you need to make this one small enough to fit inside this tube. So if I can get that one to fit inside the tube there, and the rod was out here, and I could tighten it by screwing on this one, the whole tube would be protected inside, never fall out, never get bent. It would be cool. That's an idea for you. And one more thing I forgot. No, this one always falls off. So if you make that plastic stuff, or a screw here large enough, it would hold that one in place as well. You will never lose it. It will never go away. It will stay with you forever and ever. And that's a long time. So here's one of my cymbal stands, 600 series with a boom here. It's got the same legs, you get the same memory lock, same clamping. So, what about these things here? It's a really good boom arm. There you go. But even though I use a lot of drums and I use a lot of cymbals, but I only use 2 boom stands. Because I love straight stands, and if I can get away with playing with a straight stand, I will do it every time. So, when you do like this, it kind of looks like a straight stand, but not completely. I would love to have a straight stand. If you know, if like the old Phonics or the Signature, you could just remove this one, I put it directly on here. It would look better, and it will save you half a kilo. And half a kilo is not much, but if you have 7 cymbal stands, it's 3.5 kilo. That's a lot in your bag. So that would be nice. I love this here, and if you can't find a cymbal angle here, you won't find it ever. So there you go. Please make straight stands for the top series of cymbal stands. And this leaves only one stand or hardware feature I'm going to talk about for the stands, and it's the drum throne. As you can see, I'm not using a Sonor drum throne because I like this one. I do a lot of company events and stuff, and then we have one rehearsal to learn 45 songs and then go directly into gig. So on those days I'm staying like 7 or 8 hours on this chair. So it's nice to rest your back a bit in between songs. If you had a backrest on your thrones, I will probably exchange it because this is getting worn out right now. So that's a request from me, thanks. Okay, so just a short thing here on the hardware, actually on the drums. I love these lugs. I love the logo thing here. I really love this one because I love a little bit of bling. This is a 12-inch snare. Sounds amazing. And this one, holy cow, it's the best throw off ever. Really nice, really nice. Of course, if you're changing the bottom head with the quick release stuff, oh, it's amazing. And while into this, that one, that's really good. I love this one, except for one thing. Can you make one with slotted? Because I use my old phonic snare pretty often, and I need to bring another tuning key to tune it. Nice with square heads. If I could choose all over again, I would have slotted on all my drums, but then I couldn't use this one, could I? So how about making it with slotted here? Nice, okay. And now, a little bit of anger. When I ordered this one, as I said, it's a 12-inch snare. I could not get the die-cast hoops for it. Why? Why? I would love to have die-cast hoops on it. So you need to make die-cast hoops to all of your drums, the toms as well. Once I replaced the hoops on my 10-inch with the die-cast from another company, and it sounded amazing. But that's a feature you really should offer for all your drums. Have die-cast on the complete kit if you want. And if you want the power hoops, you just check out that box instead. Okay. Here's another request. Custom sizes. As you can see, this one used to be a tom. I cut it down. It is 12-inch tom. I cut it down in size, and I actually use this as a kick. It's not a trigger, this is a contact mic. I use this as a kick. It doesn't sound like, the 22-inch from my normal kit, but when I have a percussion, I played a bit of world music stuff, world music percussion, and it down to 120 Hertz. This sounds really cool, and it's a nice flavor for the percussion setup. But it looks like crap because I made it. I would really love to order this one from you with, the perfect Sonor finishes. Look, think about this in walnut roots. It would look amazing. Amazing. And of course, I would love for you to make 6-inch toms. I would be really happy to have a 6-inch tom. But foremost, if I could have one thing in the whole world that's not there right now, I would love to have an 11-inch tom. I use 3 rack toms, and I love the sound of my 10-inch, and I want, you know, the biggest one to be a 12-inch because a 13-inch, I love the sound in the 12-inch. And if you have the smallest one is 10 and the largest one is 12, and you use 3, where do you go? 11-inch. If you made me an 11-inch, I'd be a happy man. Please. So that's pretty much it. Mostly talk about drum hardware, but also a fair amount of babbling from an old man. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you find the ideas somewhat interesting. And if you're employed in a drum company that makes hardware and you find my ideas interesting, you don't have to pay me, just send me stuff. Thanks. See you. Bye.